And welcome back to Health No Filter, my podcast for all things health and fitness related. My name's Tristan Lowe. I'm a professional personal trainer and sports massage therapist, now in my 17th year of services to people in the UK. Okay, let's look at today's subject. For those of you watching on YouTube, you can see here I'm holding up one of these little free newspaper magazine marketing adverts that come through your front door sometimes. This one came through my front door the other day in Lincoln in the UK, and it's from one of our supermarkets or our chain stores called ALDI. And for those of you overseas, ALDI, they do food, fresh produce, tin produce. Essentially they sell food, okay, and they're one of the lower cost food chains, food shops in the UK. You've got ALDI, LIDL, ASDA, those kind of things. Now, full transparency, I actually use ALDI sometimes, or LIDL, for things like milk, eggs, bananas, your basic stuff, okay, that I need to consume all the time. Now, the subject of today's podcast is don't waste your hard-earned money and time on daft or unused fitness gadgets in the house. It is the norm for people to spend money on things like this. Now, it's got here £149.99. Now, where I'm from, that's £150 or $250 or whatever it is if you're over in the USA. Now, I happen to know that a Pilates reformer, a decent bit of kit, brand new, those things can run into the thousands of pounds that you would use for commercial use. I happen to know one or two Pilates coaches, and I can rest assured they're not spending £149 on a brand new Pilates reformer. That will last in a commercial business no more than 2 or 3 months, if that. Now, that's not to say though that we shouldn't spend money on fitness equipment or fitness aids. I've always been appreciative of someone that goes and buys a new pair of trainers or a new training t-shirt or a set of dumbbells for the house. But things like this. All this stuff here started in America in the 70s, where marketing companies would spend a lot of time, effort, money and research on essentially pushing exotic, daft fitness gadgets for the home. You've seen them on those channels in America like QVC. They're normally aimed at people that are in the home during the day. Daytime TV marketing adverts. You used to see them on those weird shopping channels over here in the UK, on channel 363 or whatever it was, or whatever. But nowadays, these things sometimes come in print, but also come on channels, such as YouTube and all the kind of marketing adverts. Now, let's look at this magazine here, and if I go halfway through it, once you get past a bit of food or something like that, it gets to what essentially they're pushing in this edition of it, and that's fitness equipment. Now, it's interesting how all the adverts here on these home fitness equipments, they're showing pictures. For those of you that are watching, they show pictures of physically healthy, strong, fit, attractive women. Now, let's do the numbers. Most women that want to get healthy and fit aren't physically fit, great looking, with fantastic bodies like this, and attractive. Most women that want to get into health and fitness are overweight and unhealthy. I know that as a professional personal trainer, because if you did look like that, it's unlikely that you've got one of these in your house. You may go to see a professional Pilates or yoga coach anywhere around the world. Your time and effort is much better spent seeking out professional advice from someone whose expertise is in one of these fields. If you think about it, if you buy one of these gadgets, if you buy a treadmill, a cheap low-cost treadmill, there are two things. There are 3 scenarios. You're going to use it and get the best benefits out of it and get cardiovascular fit. The second scenario is you're not going to use it. It's going to get covered in dust and used to hang clothes on and get in the way. Just clutter up your house. And the third scenario is you're going to try and sell it, and someone's going to lowball you by 50, 60, 70%. Because they already recognize that what you've bought is a low-cost, exotic fitness gadget or aid, and they know that because they've got access to the internet like you. So you might go and spend £300-400 on something that's cluttering up your kitchen or your bedroom or your shed, and they know that as well. So they're going to come in and offer you £85, £90, £95 for what is essentially now rubbish or trash to you because you don't want it in your house. People get excited when they buy gadgets like this. Look at this lady here. She's holding up this kind of dance hula hoop kind of ring thing. She looks great, you know, looks like a supermodel. But let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, you don't look like that. She did not get like that by holding this little piece of plastic in this ring. She got like this by nutrition, good genetics to start with, then by good nutrition, good sleep, good strength exercises, cardiovascular exercises, stretching and mobility, whether she was a professional instructor or she sought professional advice, or neither of those, and she just trained herself regular. You know, women that look like this do not look like that because they buy ludicrous, you know, daft gadgets for the house. There's been a craze in the last, certainly in the last 6 or 7 years, of one of the world's biggest brands for fitness equipment, normally home fitness equipment, that being Peloton. And Peloton spent a extraordinary amount. I'm going to guess it was, crikey, possibly in the hundreds, you know, hundreds of thousands of pounds each month, you know, millions and millions of dollars each year, marketing their treadmills and bikes. And personally, for another episode, I think they got their marketing wrong. What do I know? I'm not a marketing expert, but my eye told me that their marketing was wrong. And of course, Peloton had a lot of bad press and bad news. There was cases in the USA years back of people being trapped underneath Peloton treadmills and being killed or being severely injured under treadmills. I think the women's soap opera, evening TV thing, Sex in the City, that program Sex in the City, I think they had like a renewal program or a film of it, something like that, where all the women that was in that program in the 90s got back together and they made another quote unquote entertaining film about getting back. And I think I read that in that show, one of them mentioned that Peloton bike or treadmill had been the death of her boyfriend or her husband. And of course that was poor marketing and advertising for that brand. That's not to say that it's a poor brand, but I think sometimes what's happened is a lot of people, and I imagine more women than men, in the Western world certainly, rushed out and bought a Peloton bike or a Peloton treadmill and the software that comes with the hardware. I've seen them advertising in House of Fraser in Nottingham in the UK. And when you walk up to, I think it's the top floor, and they show their Peloton range, I look at it and think, these things cost thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. And the probability of you using that item 3-4 times a week for 5 to 10 years is slim to nothing. You're going to get bored of it. You're going to try and sell it. It's going to clutter up your house. It's going to be more plastic and metal. And guess what as well? I'm not sure, but I'm going to guess that the software that comes with that Peloton equipment becomes defunct after insert whatever time, 3, 4, 5 years. And you have to pay to upgrade the software, you know, like they do with some Apple products as well. So we're going from low budget ALDI in the UK, basically where you go to buy your bananas and your tuna and your milk, and you're going to go and buy stuff like this. They've actually got in here towards the fitness section as well. I'm just going to show you for this, those you're watching on YouTube. Look at this. This is an ice bath, okay? And they're charging, I'm going to hold it up to the camera. Let's have a look. They're charging, yep, you guessed it, £29.99. In my world, that's £30 for an ice bath. The probability of this actually lasting you more than one season is very slim. Now, you might think, well, what's £30? You know, it's only £30. That's the price of a couple of coffees and a couple of sandwiches for you and your mates or your missus in your local shop. Well, it's not £30, okay? It starts at £30 and then you've got to pay to fill it with ice and water. And ice and water aren't free. You know, for you to fill this with ice and water, it's going to cost you a certain amount of money. And you've got to do it again and again and again and again. And I can tell you, for £29.99, I like their marketing, that is not going to last you. You're better off spending £30 a month. Yep, £30 a month. Or, you know, and going to an establishment that has got cold baths or cryo chambers. You might think, well, that's not fair. I'm only going to go once a month for the same price, but it's not the same price. This is going to cost you more than £30. This will cost you, by the time you've installed it wherever it is in the house, and you filled it with ice and water. And guess what? The probability is this is going to become something else that clutters up your home and clutters up your house. Another exotic gadget that, by the looks of it, have you noticed as well that they if you look here, that is not water. That's a computer generated. They've not shown this in someone's garden or someone's conservatory or someone's bedroom. You're better off taking your bath in your house and going to spend £25 on ice bags from your local supermarket and just pouring it into your bath, because your bath is a fixed item in your house that you use on a regular basis. You know, you don't go and buy a bath just to put bits of ice in. Don't waste £30 on this. Waste £30, not waste, spend £30 on ice, on bags of ice. That would probably give you 2 or 3 baths a week of ice baths. That's going to be way better than buying this and having another exotic daft item clutter up your house. Let me look at another one here as well. Okay, we've got, and the only reason I'm not picking on ALDI is just that they had the audacity to push this through my front door. Now, when you look at something else, would you believe it? They've got a bloke, they've got a man in their marketing. Who would have thought it, eh? This here, it's showing a picture of a guy doing some kind of a stretch or a lunge on one of these little plastic step boxes. Now, a plastic step box is, you guessed it, let's take the former part of the word. It's just a piece of plastic and it's a box to step on. I think that is a much better item to buy. You can step on it, you can step off it, you can have it on different heights in your house. And guess what? You can also use it when you're painting and decorating to reach those parts that people with super long arms like me can ordinarily reach on their own. And guess what? It only costs, let's have a look. I think it's marketed at about $12.99. Now, you may think, well, that's something else cluttering up the house, but it's a small item. You can put this in your shed, in a cupboard. You know, you can use it for a multitude of exercises and also a multitude of, you know, home improvements in the house. You can even chuck it in your boot. If you're going to stay away from home and you're staying in an Airbnb or someone's house, take it with you. That's not to say that I suggest you go and buy one of these. I'm just saying that if you're going to buy something that hasn't got too many working parts in it, doesn't look too exotic. You know, in the same way, if you were to buy, look at these. They've got foam rollers there for, you got it in one, $3.99 or £4. Now, a foam roller has not got any moving parts. It's not got any articulation in it. You don't have to fix it and adjust it and mend it. So something as a step box and a foam roller, I think can be more beneficial than £149.99 Pilates reformer machines, which have got so many moving parts, and they're going to make them from cheap parts as well that are going to get clogged up and break, and then you've just got a load of metal and plastic in your house. Now, the point of today's short episode is, if you're looking to get into health and fitness and you've got a budget, let's say your budget is £150, for numbers sake, spend that £150 on quality running shoes or gym shoes. You can buy a cheap t-shirt from one of our high street stores for as little as £3. No one cares what colour your t-shirt is or who makes it, unless you're doing something like mountaineering or endurance training, in which case you would need a high quality, purpose-made item, something like merino on your skin, but most people aren't doing that. Go and spend a small amount of money, £2 on your training socks, £2 or £3 on a cheap t-shirt. Spend the majority of your money on what goes on your feet. That's the only part of your body that's going to be in contact with the ground when you're training, unless you're doing floor-based exercises. Don't waste your money on those expensive watches, essentially a computer on your wrist. The probability is you are not going to train like a club athlete or a world-class athlete. You don't need it. Spend that money on education, good nutrition, and a membership to your local gym. If your local gym is, I don't know, £50 a month, $49.99. See what I've done there? If it's $49.99 a month, £50 a month, go to that gym. It's costing you a few pounds a day, and you can get yourself in there and train 2, maybe 3 times a week. And you can ask people in there what to do or what not to do, which is probably more important. Now, let's just say that gym is £50 a month for 12 months. You know, you're locked into some kind of 12-month contract. All right, so you're looking at £600 for the year. And you may think £600 is a lot of money. It is a lot of money if you don't have it. But £600, that could also buy you a pile of that metal and plastic from one of those magazines. That's now in your house. That's now in your kitchen, in your bedroom, you know, in your shed, in your conservatory. You know, I happen to know someone who's building a gym at his house. He's doing it the right way. He's making a building that can be used for his home workouts in the gym, or if he gets bored of it or doesn't want to use it anymore, the building is still there. It can be used for a multitude of things, an office, you know, a conservatory, a man cave, a woman cave. It can use it. That is a fixed building in his house, in his garden, that's going to improve the value, and it'll have usage. They're not going to get rid of this building that he's personally making himself 6 weeks later because he's bored of it. You know, what he puts in it is up to him. Okay, so my advice is try to avoid spending money on get fit quick gadgets, on look like this toys. Yeah, the men and women in these magazines do not get in shape or get into that fantastic physical, aesthetical, pleasing condition by buying daft equipment. You could spend £150 on used on eBay or whatever, you know, buying site you use in your country, and buy a second-hand set of dumbbells, you know, 5 kilos, 7 kilos, 10 kilos, 15, 20. You could buy a set of dumbbells for maybe £150. It doesn't really matter who makes them if you're just starting out. And if they're rubber coated, even better. It's going to be softer on your floor surfaces in your house, in your bedroom, even in your garden. You could train with those for a year or two, and then it's cost you nothing really per use. And guess what? There's no moving parts on them. They don't require, you know, oiling and moving and changing and setting up. You know, you could spend £150 on some medicine balls. You know, even used, you might get about 4 or 5 different medicine balls with different weights: 3 kilos, 5 kilos, 10 kilos, 15, even 20 for that same. They don't take up a lot of space. There's no moving parts, and you can use them. Your wife can use them, husband, kids, friends, next door neighbours. And easily, they're transportable as well. You can take them around with you as well. But there's nothing really exotic and fancy about a little round dumbbell, a little round medicine ball, a spherical medicine ball and a dumbbell, because they look kind of boring and plain, whereas big daft machinery that takes up a lot of space looks exciting. And they know who their target audience is. People that spend a lot of time in the home. You know, men and women that think, oh, I'm cool, I work from home, I don't have to go into the office, I don't socialise with people, you know, and they go and buy something daft. Don't do that. Spend that money on good nutrition, and, little plug here, you could spend it on a personal trainer or a sports massage therapist or a physiotherapist. If you spend that hard-earned money of yours on, let's say, £150, that could get you 3, possibly even 4 appointments with an expert in health and fitness, a personal trainer with experience under his belt or under her belt, and they could give you a nutrition plan, they could give you a home workout plan, they could give you an outdoor working plan, or they can give you a structured weight loss or body fat loss. If you're looking to lose body weight and body fat, for £150, you're going to get 3 to 4 appointments. Now, if you're in a rush, you go and see that trainer twice a week for a month, or or you go and have one appointment every first Monday of the month for 3 or 4 months. And each of that appointment, you clarify with your trainer what you want and let that trainer work it out for you. If you've got the time, effort, money, and or you need the discipline, the accountability, and the motivation to actually focus on your goals, then you're going to spend more money, but spend, you know, your time, effort, and money on 3 to 6 to 9 to 12 months with your trainer. That could be life-changing for you. You may think, oh, it's going to cost me anything between £1,000 and £2,000. That's the price of an all-you-can-eat holiday in a hotel room in Spain or Greece. People spend that money on vacations, you know, all you can eat. They go away for a week or 2 in the heated temperatures on one of these binging holidays where you eat as much as you can, and they say it's free. It's not free because you've paid it. Spend that time, effort and money on a professional personal trainer, massage therapist, physiotherapist, osteopath, chiropractor, if you need them, whichever it is. If it's weight loss and fat loss, you go and see a personal trainer, and go and see someone with years of experience, not someone that just started out last Tuesday, who the week before was working in IT or marketing. That's not to say they won't have some good ideas, but what they won't have is experience. All right, so today's today's tip, this is a free tip. Next time you think about buying something crazy and exciting and as exotic as that, think again, add up that money, spend it on a trainer, spend it on nutrition, and spend it on some dumbbells, medicine balls, and step box, and you'll thank me later. Okay, my name's Tristan Lowe. The podcast is Health No Filter. You can catch me on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, LinkedIn, and Facebook, all the socials. Fast approaching 100 episodes. We're in June 2025. And I would ask you to like, subscribe and share the channel for more future content. Until the next one, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, enjoy your summer, love your friends, family and neighbours, train hard.